back to the action of Fire Shrike here, because we were right in the middle of a very important meeting. The first meeting between Neverwhere and Captain Zyvolveto. Yeah, so I think she, like,
So you
Chunderbucket...
like Essie's third album, huh?
Well, it certainly captures a theme. It certainly captures the essence of what it is to live out on the fringes. And, the anti-corporate message just seems to resonate with most of the folk around here.
Right.
And as she's walking,
I'm following.
she's like motions for you guys to walk with her, and she's like, "Now we've got a great number of things going on here, and I have a few rumors of worth that you might be interested in."
Yes, I've been in jail for 6 months. Why don't you tell me about everything that's happened that you can tell me?
Well, first of all, I've been hearing quite a bit about what's been going on around. I hear bits and pieces about this. Your ship, Fire Shrike, seems to still be around somewhere, as well as the Spitfire. She says there's it might be easier if I play you a few videos. And she pulls out like a data pad, flips it a couple of, swipes a couple times, punches a couple of things, and hands it to you. And you get like immediately news stories about like rumors that the Spitfire and Ezeli Soroval, former pop star of Castroville, were involved in the bombings of several places, and that there's just
Shake my head.
And you see like his like propaganda video that's super anti-corporate, and he does not look good in the video. He looks like he's in bad shape. You're not entirely certain how. You're not entirely certain, but it seems like there's it affected him apparently. What the events of the Shadow of Ever says. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
And
there's skills.
Yeah, and there's there's definitely, you see the video again of like the Captain Cervantes courtroom, basically showing off the body of Ashira and calling for people to turn you and the Fire Shrike in. Says, I haven't heard anything about your friend, your intelligence officer, Shaba. So before you get that question going, I'll let you get that out of the way. And as you're walking, like somebody just walking by, and somebody is like, oh, hey, Susie, what's going on? She's like, oh, not a whole lot. She's like, just making the rounds. And like, you notice that as she's, going, people are not calling her by Neverwhere, or they call, some of them call her by different names even. And at one point, you're finishing watching the video. As you're finishing watching some of the videos she's clipped together for you, she's like, if you'll hold on here for a second, I'll be right back. And she disappears for a minute, and Chunderbucket Charlie looks at you and he goes, Neverwhere's a bit of a, shall we say, you have to meet Neverwhere to understand a bit more about Neverwhere. Couldn't tell you much beforehand. And there are people that like seem to recognize, a lot of people seem to recognize Chunderbucket Charlie as they're walking by. They're like, oh, hey, Charlie, like Captain Chunderbucket, and all that. He's something of a legend, but and people are pretty like, they're pretty well knowing to him. After a few minutes, Neverwhere comes back, and she's like, all right, a business I had to take care of. And as she's going by, she's got, now we got you a team of mercenaries together because you're going to need some help with the ship. I'm sure you could operate with just you and your friends here, but we figured your friends back home figured you could use a bit of backup. And I don't know what your hiring processes are on the Fire Shrike. I imagine they're a bit stricter than what you've got going on here. we hear
Raise an
stories.
eyebrow at her. I'm like, you know well of the crew that I normally tend to have.
Which is why I figure they're probably a bit more strict. You're
Ooh.
first in command.
So you got some bad guys. Okay.
She's like, Nahir, well, I don't know if I'd say all that. I haven't been a part of your hiring process, but I've heard your friend Nahir is very strict in who he's lets in the way he handles his business. It's just things we've heard from various people that have worked for you before. I imagine that you seem to run a little bit more organized ship, or at least he seems to help you organize it. But they're all good at what they do. And I don't think they'll give you any problem. It's just like, and as you're walking, she's like, now as for Chunderbucket Charlie, he sent me messages from prison. He said he wanted to find out a little bit more about this Rex Tolak fellow. Now my sources says he's dead, but then I got sources say he's alive and active and doing things. Figured since you'd had some interest in this beforehand, I'd give you a little bit more. I'd do a little bit of running and legwork. I got people.
Yes, you do.
It seems that there's a commonality between many of these people coming and going. They're from these Rex Tolaks. Every one of them seems to have a story about going to a place where they were investigating and finding, well, essentially an empty research facility of some sort.
Yes, I've been there too.
Well, they call it Site 87, and
yeah, I think that's what we had it listed as.
Seems like all these Rex Tolaks, regardless of whatever their differences or whatever their stories are, all hold some memory or tell some story about this Site 87. Varies from each one, but that's the one thread. And I figured, well, if you've been there, you probably know how to been to this place, or suspect you have. You probably know when to get back, but how to get back. But here's a set of coordinates anyway. Can't tell you much about where your friends are at this point. I'm apologize for that now. And this is about the point where you reach a what appears to be like a fairly decent sized townhouse, especially for like a ramshackle place like this. And opens the door and says, I hope you will stay for dinner. And
of course. I haven't had decent food in, well, about 6 months.
And as she opens the door to the place, she's like, you may why don't you go ahead? She says, after you, guests first.
I'm not carrying any weapons, but okay.
Yeah. She's like, she kind of chuckles at that, and so does Charlie. You walk in, and there's a group of like people there, various races and whatnot. A couple of them are playing video games. One of them just sitting in the corner, like drinking beer. A couple of them are playing cards. And she walks in, and she looks over a woman, and she's like, and takes a second, and it seems for a second like as you're watching her form seems to melt away and reshape, and she becomes a he, and now wearing clothes that are a couple of sizes too small. So the crazy, like, top that she was wearing with like the feathers that were coming out of the shoulders, and the jean shorts, or like the leather pants and everything that she was wearing and all, are now just a bit tighter. And what stands there now is a man with rather spiky dark hair and just the tiniest of a goatee, and looks over at and stops, and in a moment where apparently not really paying where attention has shifted, kind of does that what do you think thing towards the woman, who looks back at her and goes, and she's like, "Bitch, you look better the other way." To which they're like this. Neverwhere gets a pouty face and then changes back to the small human blonde woman and goes, "My crew never likes it when I try new things, and or at least that one doesn't." And so she's like, "If you'll make yourself at home, I will see to it that the dinner is on the ready."
Okay. 2 things before you run away. First, I'd like baths for all my men. I realize there's only 3 of us, but that's still 3 baths. And also, you're good with computers, right?
I got people for that.
Very well. I'd like you to encrypt a message and send it out in all directions for my shipmates to fucking find. There's a Kitten Fit song. We could put together a propaganda video, and we'll have that be the background for them to look at.
Nice.
Nurx will be like, it's a picture of Zai, and his hair is super long.
I don't think Kasathans grow hair.
Oh.
I'm wearing a wig.
Okay.
But why? But why?
Wear a wig.
Because he needs to show that time has passed.
You know,
That makes no sense if they can't grow hair.
But yeah, the Captain Zai wearing a wig now. That's great.
Oh my god.
Just for this propaganda video we're sending out so that they can find it.
Right.
Ooh. I realized that there was something in that video montage that she showed me that showed that the backup base is there. So I know that.
Yeah. She's like, "Oh, and these are there are places, I can't tell you where all the Hell Knight bases are. I don't have infiltration. They moved some of them, but these are the coordinates of where some of their bases are. I wouldn't even go near this one. They picked that system specifically because there's nothing else there. They'll shoot anything that's not a Hell Knight ship that goes in that system, and it's the coordinates for your system."
Yes, of course.
Like,
you might not know this about that system, but that's mine. Of course they took it. Damn it. Anyway, I'm over that now. So yeah, we'd like to shower or Glycol, right?
Glycol, yeah.
Glycol. I don't know what you do, but I'd like a bath with water.
He just looks at you for a second and he goes, and he just looks at you for a second and then he says, I just want a drink.
Oh my god.
I just want a drink.
Okay.
I just want a drink.
Oh, poor Slug Man.
Alright, I understand. We're gonna find you a friend, I promise.
Buxley.
I'm trying to give it a different quality than Bexley, but I'm really not succeeding here.
You need to give up. That's what it is.
Go get clean.
Yeah,
We're gonna have a real dinner tonight.
Yeah. he just kind of somebody brings him a drink. He sits down and he sees the video guy playing the video game and he sits down next to him to watch.
I call next.
Yeah. And Elgas is basically he's been very quiet. Like, you've noticed that since you escaped the shadow of Ever, like at first he was very distant and didn't seem like he knew what to do, but somewhere along the lines of between the escape and the prison, you're not entirely certain where it happened. He now alternates between bouts of quietness that you take might be depressing and bouts of anger and rage, like when he's called to action for whatever reason. You have enough ranks in mysticism. you would realize, oh yeah, dying and then coming back is traumatic as shit for anybody. And even the strongest of wills who are expecting to go through it have issues dealing with the transition. This guy clearly didn't know what was going on when this occurred.
So he's regained a lot of his memories and he's super pissed off about it.
And he's regained some of nothing solid. Nothing solid.
I do know of these things a little bit. Is there anything I can do for him as Captain's Eye? Besides have a talk that normally leads for people to eventually go evil and try to save their friends without asking me for help.
Well, I mean, the basic captain things you've learned to do, to just kind of be there and listen and talk to him occasionally and whatnot.
I don't have any blue grog. I haven't had blue grog in 6 months. Otherwise, that's my first.
Oh yeah.
Here, drink this. All right. Now that you feel a little better, regardless if you want to or not, let's have a talk.
He's like,
where's the selenium when you need it?
Yeah,
right?
where's the selenium, right? And
it's on the Fire Shrike. I'll get there.
And he says, he's kind of standing in the background, and maybe that's where we kind of cut away.
I like it.
Let's cut away, and it makes sense to cut back to Slef. Slef, you're on Pluvo. You are not, however, in the main town. You're at city. You've managed to track your target that Dr. Talat wanted you to track down. You've managed to track that fucker down outside of the city, because you're still kind of weird about, like, should I go in here or should I not?
Yeah, and this group of mercs that I'm with, how many of them are there? And
oh, you're on planet Verno, not Pluvo.
Right. Because the professor sent me with a ship of mercs. Were they related to my goal, or am I acting as
you right now you're acting solo, and I want to cut back into you're in what looks like a relatively small town colony, and you're out back of what looks like a drinking establishment. And Slef, we come in, and it's raining. It's raining hard.
Right.
And as we come in,
can't rain all the time.
Slef, you're in your full fucking power armor at this point.
Yes, sir.
And we see you looking at somebody, and the camera follows across, and there's a human who looks like kind of a human ne'er-do-well mercenary, who looks across at you. That one Hazard Stith.
Hazard Stith.
Yep. You've tracked him down, and you found out in your investigation, you did find out that it's highly likely that he's been leaking sensitive information. Nothing can prove it, but you found him before you found enough proof to just damn him. And he's looking back across at you. How do you approach this guy? What is your approach?
Is he in the middle of the street, or how does this work?
You guys are kind of like behind what looks like a drinking establishment. I'm guessing you caught him leaving out the back door, or otherwise you saw each other from across the room and were like, okay, we'll do this outside or something.
Yeah.
You can kind of describe how that went down.
Yeah, I think Slef is going to kind of look him in square in the face and go, well, you certainly have earned a bit of a reputation there, friendo.
He's like, he looks over at you and he's like, yeah. What are you doing here? What do you want? What do you want from me?
My goal is to axe him, right? Or it's to get information and then axe him if I determine he definitely is doing the thing we're thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Although I'm not sure that, and maybe this subtext in the professor and Dr. Talat's like wording of the mission is, I don't give a shit if you kill him and he's innocent.
Yeah.
I give a shit if you let him live and he's not.
Yeah.
So he doesn't care about this guy's life in particular. He's mostly concerned about what information this guy could potentially have leaked or be leaking.
Now, did the professor give me that kill switch?
Yeah, he gave you the code for the kill switch.
Okay.
Like you have the ability to turn the kill switch on this guy's head and flip the kill switch on him.
I'm like, well, here's the thing. I've heard that you've been saying a few things that you probably shouldn't have been saying. Especially about a few people you shouldn't be talking about.
He looks at you and he goes a bit closer, and maybe we get like the moment of realization as we get like the close-up of him for a minute realizing, and then like we pull back and we see the both of you just sort of standing there in the rain with like maybe a garbage dumpster in the alley near you. And there's a moment of silence and he goes, "Wait a minute. You're the black rat. You're the black rat. You're the one that did the bombings on Versace. Captain Zai's former favorite pet and now Dr. Talet's favorite pet. I know who you are. What are you doing here? What do you want from me?"
Slef's mouth peels back into a smile and he goes, "Huh, haven't heard that one yet. All right, I'm gonna give you," and he like looks at his comm pad probably, and he taps around on a little bit and sets a timer. And he goes, "I'm going to give you exactly 1 minute to tell me how you didn't spread around secrets of the professor and why I should let you live. And I'm going to start that timer now." And he's just going to tap the timer.
He goes, "Whoa, wait. There's no need to do anything drastic.
54.
I have information you might want."
Okay.
Captain Zai is alive.
50... And Slef's posture changes entirely and goes, "Well, you got 45 seconds to back that up then, friend."
Look, man, I can't tell you exactly. He was, from what I understand, he was locked up in some penal colony I heard it in conversation with one of Isig's boys back in Pluvo. He's, apparently the information's fairly reliable. Let me live, and look, let me live, and I'll get you a meeting with Isig, and you can, and to where he can tell you more.
Right. Now, that's all well and good, friend, but, and he, like, taps something on the comms pad, and he's like, "I'm gonna take the pressure of the timer off for just a second here. This seems like a nuanced conversation. If you know anything about my record, nuance isn't my specialty, so I'll just shoot it to you straight. I've been sent here pretty much to kill you, because you've been spreading secrets. And I'm not really allowed to let you leave if you've been spreading secrets. So, I've got a name, Isig. You can do this the friendly way, and I find a way to get you out of this situation, and you just tell me where to meet Isig right now, or I'll just blow you to bits. The cards are stacked against you real heavy. I'll tell you that right now."
Look, take it easy there, Blast Cap. He says, I've got a, he hangs out in a drinking establishment in Pluvo.
Mm-hmm.
I give you the name, you let me walk. You'll never see me again. I'll go back to the Pact Worlds.
Sure.
He's like, he says, "We have a deal? You're not gonna kill me anyway."
He looks at me and he goes, "We have a deal. I have no reason to kill you if I don't have to."
Yeah, he writes down the name of the drinking establishment on a piece of paper, and he takes out and he never takes his eyes off of you fully.
Yeah,
he knows damn good and well that like he's an operative and he's capable of handling himself, but he also knows that you've been working for Dr. Talet, and he knows Dr. Talet has the codes for his kill switch, and he knows how Dr. Talet does business. So you translate to very dangerous individual. He's not entirely sure he wants to piss off.
Yeah.
And he hands you a slip of paper, and he looks at it. He hands you a slip of paper and with a name on it, and he backs away slowly.
Yeah. And as he's starting to back away, I look at it. What's the name on this thing?
It's the.
Sorry.
It's the Burned Bastard.
Perfect. I look at him and go, the Burned Bastard. That's a weird fucking bar name. Who the fuck names a bar the Burned Bastard?
He's like, I don't know, man.
He goes, oh, go ahead.
All I can tell you is it's changed ownership a couple of times. I don't know much more about it.
Yeah, and Slef's like...
I think Isig owns it now.
Slef's like, well, you have fun disappearing off the records, friend. Oh, and by the way, Zeta Green 47.3, just to fucking end him right there.
So you kill him anyway.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. He's a loose end, and I don't need the professor finding a loose end right now.
Wow.
Yep. He looks at at you in shock the moment like you start the moment you start rattling the code off. He looks shocked and he falls, and there's a moment where he realizes he's dying. He's dead, and then he crumples to the ground next to the dumpster, behind this drinking establishment.
Slef takes a photo, sends it off to the Shadow of Ever, and then
to the Ever, you mean?
Or to the Ever, that's right. And does he have anything like useful on him, like any money or weaponry?
Nothing you can't make.
Yeah.
You could salvage it. You could salvage his equipment for about 10% of what it's worth. If you want to take the time to do it.
I've already got the Ever. I don't need to. I take a quick look to make sure that there's nothing like that would implicate me or the professor on there. And then as long as there's nothing like that, I just walk off and mutter under my breath, fucking amateurs, man.
Yeah. Right on. And that's a great place to cut away from Slef. And we cut into Lysine and companies at Lysine and Drea's shuttle that they're flying in as it hurtles towards planet side at Glumpucket, towards planet side in Glumpucket, in flames, just in flames, and. We cut just a second to some random kid who's looking at the flaming arc in the sky as it goes by, and we see like maybe an explosion off in the distance where it hit the ground somewhere. And when we cut back to Drea and to Drea and Lysine and Corporal Saves and Captain Massal pulling themselves out of the wreckage. Corporals Dox and Knox are both lying there very clearly dead, and only identifiable because they didn't die from the fire. They died from shit, caving their chests in. And, they're impaled on shit. So but we see that now you are on the face of this planet. You are on the face of this planet now, and your ship is beyond repair, and two of the people with you are dead. But we find you guys in the desert, in the wilds here on the planet of Glum, not far from Glumpucket itself. What does this scene look like as you guys pull yourselves out of the wreckage? Like, how do we get this here?
Oh, the scene just punches part of the wreckage. It's like pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brushing. Not really soot, but debris off.
Yeah. What is So Captain Masal and Captain and Corporal Cervais, and like maybe Captain Masal is helping Corporal Cervais out, and he's like, and he looks over at the two of you, and he's like, and he looks like he's just fucking defeated at this point, almost. He just kind of looks like, what the fuck, you know? And he's like, it's a little bit of a hike to civilization. You guys, is everybody okay? You guys, he goes over and checks on both the other two corporals who didn't make it. And he's like, shakes his head. There's no saving him. And this mission has been a complete wash. Oh man. And he kind of looks around and he looks over at the two of you as Captain Cervais or as Corporal Cervais is like dusting himself. Well, grab what you can from the wreckage. There's nothing for it. We're gonna have to be real careful here. This is not exactly friendly territory. Everybody, watch each other's backs. Look out for trouble. Try not to draw attention to ourselves, and it might be a good idea if those of us with wings, try to find some way to cover up, because the Hell Knights are probably looking for our people. Try to get through here and find a way off this planet as fast as possible.
Yeah, I'm gonna. The scene looks for like blanket or whatever, something to make a makeshift cloak and wrap it around to hide the wing.
Yeah. I think the other two Strix are doing that also. But after gathering a bit of supplies, they're ready to head off towards settlement. And maybe Corporal Cervais has some sort of radio gear that he's got with him, and he's kind of trying to pick up local transmissions. And as you're walking to town, you hear propaganda coming forth from the Hell Knights and whatnot from the radio transmissions, and once again you hear the voice of Captain Cervantic Cordrum. And Lysine, you know this is the guy who led the assault on your war. This is the guy who's led the assault on the entire system for the most part, but he was personally involved in your... Andrea, you just find the more that you hear this guy's voice, the more you fucking hate him. He just sounds like an asshole. Something about him just triggers you. But as you're walking into town, you find the Glumpucket is a mining town. And maybe we get that pullback shot as you guys get closer of you guys walking into town and see the town as a whole. And Glumpucket it's a mining operation. It's a mining colony town, but it's also got its parts that look like, and granted it's a relatively small district, that looks like it's more official corporate buildings and one area that seems to be devoted to whoever is in charge of this place. And it's got there's a big grand, manor house, like an estate that the person who runs this place looks like, lives at, and what have you. What do you like? And Captain Masal looks at you and says, "We need information and we need transportation off of this planet." He says, "Suggestions?" And he's open the floor to everybody.
Maybe find the local dive. We can hire a ship out of here.
Yeah.
Cervais and Cervais is like, It might be a good idea to get a feel for the place too. I, kind of, recon the area. Masal kind of nods his head. He's a really good. He looks at you, Lyson, and he says, "Why don't you go ahead in, see if you can't find the local dive, as you put it, and see what you can, if you can find us a captain. Corporal Cervase, you and I are going to recon the area. From an external point of view, we need to know. We need to get an idea of what the traffic going in and out is. We need to get a feel for, how friendly or unfriendly, where the guard emplacements are, who keeps the order around here. We'll do the hard recon of the area." Says, and he looks around. He says, and he looks at you, Dre, and he's like, "I don't know." He looks at you, Dre, and he says, "You're not officially under my command, so I guess wherever you want to." Oh.
What are my options? I was fixing my stream. It keeps trying to go down.
Oh, sorry. You can strike off on your own here in Glumpucket. You can accompany Lysin to the local dive. You can try to follow Marcel and Savas as they try to recon the area. You have a number of things you can do here.
Let's try some recon.
You can go with Cervase and Marcel.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I think we get. Let's follow Lysin in for a moment, and then we'll come back to the recon team real quick. Lysin, you are you make your way into Glumpucket, and it looks like these people. It's just they don't look particularly happy, but they also don't look so discontent that they're about to take up arms this moment. It's that deal that, you know how people look when the job is kind of shitty but not shitty enough to quit? You know?
Amen.
Definitely.
Yeah. They're or maybe the options are limited. But yeah, they're kind of these people kind of look like they probably have a few people who grouse about like various work related things. But you do manage to find a dive bar. In fact, strangely, you managed to find a Boards, Booze, and Bitches.
Ooh.
Yep, there's one on Glumpucket.
This is the
I've
sixth
heard of
one?
this place from the Pack World.
Yeah. And just like any other place, just like you've heard, there is someone who is either passed out or possibly dead in the doorstep, and you are at the edge. This is clearly the bad side of town right here.
Where else would you put a booth? I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're just not going to put a board.
Benches doesn't go on the nice side of town.
It does not go in the mall.
Yeah. Oh man.
So do you step over the body and enter?
Is food worth dying over?
I just look at the body. It's like pathetic.
He couldn't hang.
Yeah. I just
right.
step over the body, walk in, just scan the place.
Yeah. As you're walk in, it's the kind of assortment you'd expect to find at a place with a sort of a nefarious reputation. There are a lot of people who look like shady motherfuckers in here. And as a matter of fact, there is one particularly loud group of you can tell they're off-worlders because they look a lot more content with what they do than say the rest of the workers around here, and they're dressed in better armor and weapons, and they guffaw like the kind of outlaws you'd expect. There's a very large Vesk that is leading, that seems to be the leader of them. And he's like, he yells across the room, he's like, another round for the table. Put it on the tab. No, it's the death hammer, you dumbass. And he's like, and the bartender who I'm gonna say this bartender is actually a skittermander, and he's a skittermander with we'll go with
Wait,
bright.
is that one of them things I want?
Yep.
Yes, it
Damn
is.
it. I want
It's
to
a
take it home.
sentient creature.
Yes.
It's a skittermander with orange,
What?
like bright orange fur. And he looks over. He looks over like, oh yeah, sure, coming right up. It'll be great. I promise it'll be the best drinks you've had. And he goes
Taking
over
home.
and he goes over and he pours like a couple of drinks which you recognize, or maybe which you recognize, Lysin, as an Oblivion Sunrise, and hands it off. Bored and looks totally put out by the fact that she has to do some work until she gets over to the table, and they and the crew are all like, they're like, yeah. Some of them hand her some extra credits, which makes her like her attitude completely changes
I put one
to
in
super friendly.
general for you to look at, Chandarelle.
And
It's in
On
one
Discord.
shots.
and
Oh man, I put it in the wrong spot. I'm sorry.
and but you see that this giant Vesk, he's got a team of crazy looking mercenaries, and they're telling a story. They're telling a story about like being on the about a hole being blown in the side of a ship they were on. Like, I didn't think you were coming back from that breach. You looked pretty funny as you were flying out that hole. And the other guy, the guy he's poking this guy is poking fun at, is like, he kind of laughs too. He goes, it wasn't funny at the time, but then you showed me the video. It was pretty hilarious. He's like, but yeah, what is your move here, Lysin?
So as I'm looking around, like, this is my only option. I'm taking it.
Right now, it seems like it, or at least it's the only option that exists in this bar.
Yeah. Yeah, I walk up to the table
He
and just stand there and look at the captain.
he takes a minute to finish laughing at whatever crude humor he had at probably some crew member's expense, or some crew member had at another crew member's expense. And he takes a minute and he looks up at you and he kind of wipes his mouth for a second, and he looks up at you. He's like, and he goes, and he says, drawn by the tales of conquest and adventure, are we? And who are you?
I'm someone that's looking for a ship to help me and my friends get off planet.
He goes, a ship? I got one of those. One of the most heavily armored ships in the place. Where you look at in the area, where you looking to go? And how many credits do you have is more important. And this brings a round of laughter from the crew.
How many credits we talking?
He looks across at the crew as if to shut them up, like, I'm talking business guys. And he goes, well, depends on where you're going and how many you got.
4, including me. Avoid the Hell Knights at all costs.
He looks at his crew and that like maybe a couple of them off in the corner go ooh, but he glares at them like shut the fuck up again, and they both stop and they look kind of like okay,
Sorry, boss.
yeah, they do this sorry boss look, and he's and he takes a look around and he goes, I'd say 4. Just getting off the rock. Do you care about the destination? You got someplace in mind?
For now, someplace that would be considered neutral.
Neutral. Well, your best bet's probably going to be one of them there independent colonies. And maybe Pluvo. Tobin Bilton ain't thrown his lot in with nobody yet.
Sounds good enough.
This is Planet of Verno, colony of Pluvo. 4 people. I'm gonna say 2,000 credits. We're feeling a little generous, aren't we, boys? A little flush. And they chuckle. He's like, after that, after our last job, we're doing all right. But we don't do nothing for free.
I don't expect anything for free. 2,000?
Mm-hmm. That's what we'll be looking at.
Okay. I'll go find my captain, collect the money. I'll be back in an hour.
And he kind of nods and he says, well, we ain't got nowhere to be in the immediate times, so we'll be here probably. And some of his men laugh at that, and he gives you the closest approximation to a grin that you think a Vesk is capable of. It looks weird because it's a Vesk, so it looks predatory as shit.
I give him back a very similar grin with my sort of talon sharp teeth.
Yeah, and I think maybe after you walk out, like maybe there's like a scene, maybe there's just half a second where this person where one of his boys is like, ha! He's like, drifter trash, and he looks back at him and he says, not drifter trash. That one's got military training. Chances are good. He says, chances are that ain't no miner, and that ain't no miner, and that ain't no drifter. Makes you wonder where they came from. And then we cut away and we cut back to Savas and Masal and Andrea, and you guys are out kind of like doing your scouting. And I think one of the things that they were able to pull from the wreckage is whatever, binoculars or whatever. And maybe we catch you guys in like on a ridge sort of outside of town, and Corporal Savas is like looking through the binoculars, and Captain Masal is looking at it, is talking to you, and he goes, and he's like, so didn't quite catch your name, and a little chaotic and crazy back there. And what were you doing on that play in that site anyway? There wasn't anybody else around. What's how'd you get there? What's your story?
Well, my name's Drea, and to be honest, I'm not real quite sure how I got there.
He goes, "Oh, what do you mean you're not sure?"
I'm not sure.
He kind of nods, and he's like, "Huh." He goes, well, he goes, and it's clear he's trying to find a way to bridge the gap here. He's like, I had a cousin. She's dead now, but she suffered from amnesia, accident a few years back, and I die. It's a rough thing going through not knowing you, how you got somewhere, or anything like that. And he says, and it's real awkward. He's a soldier. He's not like a diplomat. He says, well, I hope you find your answers. You have any ideas where you're going to start looking?
I pretty much just been trying to stay alive. I hadn't really thought that far ahead, but I do have a couple inclinations of people I'd like to talk to.
Okay. He goes, and this is about the time Corporal Cervase is like, hey, boss, you want to come see this? And he comes down here, looks at he goes over and grabs the binoculars from the corporal and kind of takes a look and goes, yep. It's a bit of a popinjay right there. I'm guessing that he is the guy who runs this place. Glumpucket. He says, I don't know a whole lot about this place, but I'd be willing to bet that guy's it. He says, ooh, and it looks like there's an official Mastodon representative meeting here too. A few mercenaries, a couple of Hell Knights. I would expect that. Not a large contingent, but but enough that I don't want to go toe to toe with them. I'd say we're probably best to get off of this planet. Wait, hold on. Who's that? And he says, that's the sub-commander. Like, Dawson? Jake Dawson? Human. And he was part of the attack that destroyed our home. And I'd love to get my hands on him, but it's too risky. We don't have the manpower.
Humans are notoriously squishy. Wouldn't take much.
Yeah, not this one. He's a Hell Knight sub-commander. Saw some of my, I got a field promotion on account of the fact that my captain tried to fight him, died horribly. Wasn't even a fair fight. And says, I think the only one I've seen, he was one of the two best warriors on that in that battle. Neither of them were on our side. Both of them on the Hell Knights. Cordrum and Dawson. Those two, scary. Don't want to die. I don't feel like dying today. And he says, and he kind of breaks out some rations, and he says, well, until Lysen reports back in, I think we should probably stay here. And he sits down and he hands you like a ration packet, Drea.
Yeah.
And he's like, might as well eat. And says, and I think I'm going to flash from here to a group we haven't seen yet at all. Ezzy and Tavis. Ezzy and Tavis.
Unicorn.
So we come in with you guys, like we're not even going to do like the landing scene. We've done that with practically everybody else. But you guys are in Pluvo at this point. Ezzy, are you disguising yourself here?
Yeah, I probably should. I'll roll. And disguise.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have my hood up.
I have my hood up. My disguise is I don't have a disguise.
I don't have a disguise.
I could have
yeah.
with that. I'm good at disguises.
Well,
Right.
you're probably the a 12 is good enough that your average lay person probably isn't going to look at you twice enough, look at you enough to like notice who you are. But it may not hold up to somebody who's a little bit more savvy or has a particular interest. But we see you walking up to the Burned Bastard to meet your contact. Of Isig. And as we see you, the doors are obviously, open because they're open for business, and it is not raining in in Pluvo. It's raining on other parts of Verno, but not Pluvo. But you walk in, and it's a decent run place. It's got all of the elements of a dive, but it also looks like it's more secure than you would expect at first glance. Like, maybe you guys have gotten a little more accustomed to these kinds of places, and when a business is being run by somebody who's got their hands in a lot of pies and has the wealth and power to keep a certain amount of control over an establishment, because you can probably make who the plants are in the place. But you're on the main floor, and it is. How are you guys going to approach this? Are you going to get a drink first? Are you going to try to head straight for the stairs to the upper level to the office? Are you going to try to mingle first? What are you going to do?
First things first, are there any obvious back exits?
There's a couple of obvious back exits, but you're pretty sure there's a few that aren't obvious too.
Alright, this is just more for, Actually, no. I've got so many damn points in perception, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
I got a plus 23.
Jesus.
Pretty
sure you figured it out.
Yeah. you
have to roll.
You take a look around, and you make pretty much all the security and the bolt holes and the spots where things are. Like you break the room down. Break the room down.
They're using, if they're wearing armor.
Yeah, maybe we get like Ezzy vision for a minute, where we kind of like follow where Ezzy's looking, and we get like the whatever he notices, like the hidden security camera, and with a little block above it, like hidden security camera, and then it's like spot where you see like maybe like the slightest hint of like a screw in the bar in a place where it doesn't make a lot of sense, or even like a spill mat that's got a bump where there's obviously something under it, and you're like, and there's like clearly some sort of gun hidden underneath the spot,
or a silent alarm,
well, thinking about silent alarm, you look for the wiring and you see where that's rigged to. Maybe we get like the follow along, and we get like the back door obvious. And the service entrance to the back cooler and whatnot, most likely secret entrance through the back, through the back of the house somewhere, and blah blah blah. And we get like, well, he's obviously a guard, working for the establishment. Even though he appears to be drinking, he's paying too much attention to the customers and not enough to his drinks. That kind of thing is as he breaks the room down and notices where everything is at.
There was your Robert Downey Jr. moment.
Yeah, I just went full Sherlock on that.
Oh yeah, you went full Sherlock. you totally analyzed every single bit of the room and broke it down. You know,
Here does that all the time.
Yeah, I just like
he's just not as good at it.
I keep out the those dog tags from before, hoping that they maybe add to the disguise a little bit, because someone would be like, "Oh, it's just someone from Absalom Security." You know,
Right.
they have Lashunta in that.
Yeah.
Because Absalom's the melting pot.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to like look back at Tavis and be like, "Stay close to me," and I'm just going to take the most direct yet out of the way route possible towards the upstairs.
Did you just say you took the
There's-
direct scenic route? Is that what just happened?
The most
Yeah.
direct.
Yeah.
way.
Well,
Well, as direct as I can be, while trying to not seem
There's
like
no-
I'm trying to get there quick.
there's not per se a way to go upstairs that isn't guarded. You're assuming that their back doors for upstairs are escapes towards jetpacks and things like that. Maybe some sort of intercopter or whatever that's hidden upstairs.
Jump boots.
You're fairly certain that if you go up, once you make it upstairs, you'll find that the building is actually it doesn't seem as tall as big from the inside, because there's obviously a secret level, but you're not up there yet. But you're imagining that's probably the case.
Well, I'm not going to try and cause anything that I shouldn't, so I'm just going to approach the stairs normal.
Yeah, and you see and Tavis, how funny do you think it is, considering you've probably been here a few times in the last 6 months, that he's cautioning you?
I just kind of nod and go with it, and internally I'm just like, oh boy, this is not going to go well.
Yeah, and
You don't last
Yeah.
long as a terrorist without being paranoid.
right, exactly. And
So that's entirely based off of paranoia.
and as you head for the steps, a very large bear steps in front of you, and you hear in your mind,
Oh, Jesta and his bears.
and it says, nobody sees the boss without a ow. And he looks past you, behind you over to Tavis, and he goes, it's you. And you all pretty much hear this in your heads, those of you a part of this group, because he's communicating telepathically. And so it's like he's addressing a crowd this way. It's like, it's you. And then he says, and you see him like reach down, grab his comm pad, tap a few things out, and then he looks back up at you, and he goes, looks back up at you and looks at the other two guards, and he's like, and you can't hear it in your minds, but you're assuming he tells them it's okay because they back off and quit barring the way. And he goes, strangely, the boss says he's got more to tell you than he did the last time. You're expected. Go on up.
Much appreciated.
About time.
Yeah, he's like, and he kind of, he does keep an eye on you in particular as you go by.
I pay him absolutely no heed.
Right. He's, he doesn't bar your way, but he does watch you fairly closely. And you make your way upstairs, and it is as you suspected, there's obviously a false roof, obviously a false ceiling here, because this building is taller than what it should be for where the roof is at here.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever Isaac's got for escape routes, he's got at least one plan for being able to go up. So, but Tavish, you know where his office is up here, and the moment you get to the office and the doors open and what have you, or you open the door, Isaac is sitting in his usual chair, and maybe the flavor of this place is it looks cluttered in that way of a collector, like somebody who collects weird shit. but keeps it mostly organized. But there's just weird shit there, like maybe like the head of some weird alien beast, or the claw of some monster, or some crazy like coin that is from an ancient civilization
So
or whatever.
basically, it's like Tiff's house.
Well, and he looks at you. He's like, "Hey, Tavis, I've been wondering when you'd make your back. I told you I didn't want to have to tell you a 7th time that I didn't know anything. I don't have to tell you a 7th time I don't know anything." He says, "Have a seat. Have a seat." And he points to a bottle that's on the table, like a decanter that's like, or he points to a decanter that's like got weird like stones on it that are considered jewels on some planet, not so much on the others, but they're bright and they're pretty.
Yeah.
It's
So
obviously
basically, costume jewelry.
yeah. It's like he's like
Jeweled.
Valin nectar, kind of rare. I say I only share it with my friends.
You'd
So,
understand.
how you been, Tavis?
I've been well. Thank you.
So, they sent you back to talk to me, did they?
Okay, good. Sorry, I was making sure I wasn't muted.
Yeah.
When he says they, who do I know who he's talking about?
Yeah. I mean, he directly did business with you for the Fire Shrike before. He knows who you're affiliated with. He did. And
Can
I'm
I
assuming
answer
that you.
in your place, Tavis?
And I'm assuming you've asked him where Zai and everybody is before, and he's come up with nothing.
Yeah.
Just kind of a smart-ass remark, considering he just said that.
Yeah, if you want to say something, you can.
Yeah, I'm just like, would he be in my company if it were otherwise?
He looks at you and he goes, I don't know. Some people say you're dead, so I never know whether you're gonna walk back through the door or not. Sometimes people are wrong when they say people are dead. Sometimes people are right. I don't know. Shit. He says that old stick in the mud and a hair still running the Shrike.
Unfortunately.
And it says, it says, gotta tell you, the output on your arms deals and the jobs you've pulled lately, kind of small fries without Volvetto. You're short-handed and everybody knows it. Getting hard to find work for you. Thankfully for you, I may be able to help you on that one. Haven't heard anything about anybody else yet, but appears that Captain Volvetto, shortly after at least from my sources, shortly after the destruction of the Shadow of Ever, was picked up by local authorities. And,
Captain's alive.
well, if the reports are to be believed, and, well, so far I believe them, they're more reliable than anything else I've come across. Got a place that the last place he was seen at. They call it the penal colony Galifac or Gallicalac or Facalac. I don't know. I only know it by its actual designation in terms of like its technical designation. Penal colony 1187. It's the last place anybody heard or saw Captain Zai that was even reliable. At least that's where I heard he was. Yes.
How old are these reports?
Hard to tell some information. Makes for a lot of opportunity for people like you and me to move in the shadows and get things done without getting caught as easy, but it also makes it hard to find anybody you're looking for. What are you going to do? Opportunity, convenience, I don't know. I like opportunity.
Opportunity is always a good thing.
The
Got it.
opportunity to find the captain is a very rare one.
The opportunity for me to get you guys back to operational standards where you can take on the kind of jobs and the kind of weapons manufacturing that you used to do. Well, that's money, that's credits in my pocket. That's a benefit to me.
There are more important things in this sector than credits.
I guess it's a matter of priorities, but I'll understand if yours are different from me. You're a folk hero or a terrorist or something. I'm just a guy trying to make a living.
Terrorist.
Fuck her.
Like
I prefer
I'm just
the term freedom fighter.
whatever you whatever you see when you look in the mirror, I guess. I'm just looking for the opportunity to make some credits. I'm just a guy trying to make some money, easiest way I can. It's beneficial to me that you guys find your captain again. No offense to Nick here. He's a terror on the battlefield from everything I've heard, but short-handed. You guys don't seem to be doing near as
Well.
big of things as you did. There you go.
Backhanded compliments aside, has there been any transmission out of this facility?
There's been transmissions in and out. It's a penal colony. There's prison shipments that go in. There's supplies that go in, and there's shit that comes out because the prisoners work. Personally, I feel it's a little bit more like slavery than I'm comfortable with. But privatized prison systems. What
Anything
can you say
involving
about
the
it?
corporations will involve
Any-
slavery, even if it's
I guess-
indirectly.
And he says, "What are you gonna do about it?" He says, "This is the best information I got for you. I wouldn't even bring it to you if I didn't think it was worth following up." Hell,
Tavis, my immediate reaction is that we should storm this facility and liberate the captain. Do you have anything else to add?
I believe storming might not be the best measure.
You have always won for the underhanded, indirect method.
Qualus, to first find out if the captain is truly there, and if so, where he's being kept at, how heavily guarded. It makes sense tactically to find out information before we storm.
I look at him. We?
All right,
All right.
that seems to be...
I mean, it sounds like he just said he's gonna go with us. I'm just saying.
Well, that's
yeah, he's part of
that's
our
Qualu.
crew.
Yeah, it's Qualu talking.
Oh, sorry, I thought that was the other guy. My bad.
No, Isig sounds like a lazy fucko.
Yeah, my phone is really bad quality, so it's hard to tell the voices apart from me right now.
Sorry.
That's
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, look, Isig's like, trust me, I've come up with 100 leads that weren't good enough to bring to your table. I haven't brought shit to you because I haven't believed shit hard enough to bring it to you. This one, I don't know. I mean, you guys it's worth looking into.
And what
Yeah.
about my other project I've been having you keep an eye on? Where's Prosov?
Prosov, last I heard, not in the system. Last I heard, he was out on some deep space exploration thing. Seems people don't want to hire him to do things around civilized folk these days. But with his record, I don't blame him. Even I didn't like doing business with Prosov. Damn near cut off 3 of my fingers. All he had to do was come with payment, and I'd have told him everything.
Does not sound like a pleasurable man.
No, it is.
That is why I will kill him.
That's why Ulthar gets paid a lot of money, because Ulthar is the reason he didn't cut off 3 of my fingers, and, well, also the reason he didn't get out of here with information he didn't pay for. Yeah.
So Prosov is nowhere to be seen, and we only are chasing ghosts to find the captain.
He
Have you
says,
heard anything on the professor?
and the professor has kept himself well hidden. He sends out, well, the Vitari Tech and the professor, your Dr. Talat, have been real undercover. See, the Hell Knights, they come at everything with an army and they're a hammer they're a hammer in every situation, even when it requires a screwdriver. To bore a union, they're a little bit trickier because they're a loose association with a lot of independent colonies. Can't even tell how many people they've got. Dr. Talat seems to hire only the best operatives. Everything they've done has been shadows. Sometimes they send in a strike team somewhere, but that's all it is. It's a strike team. It's a small team of mercenaries and specialists that go in, do whatever they're there to do and get out. Hell Knights are pissed. They can't seem to lock down the Dr. Talat's operatives well enough to engage. Nothing pisses an army off more than not having another army to fight.
If Dr. Talat is still alive, then that would mean that Slef is still alive. Keep an ear out for any loud rodents.
Yeah, well,
That's every isekai.
he says, well, if you're specifically mentioning your friend that's left, I don't know what's going on with him, but people have started calling him the Black Rat.
Or rat.
He was a rat even before the explosion, but he was our rat, and we'll have him back.
Well, if I hear anything solid, I'll let you know. Other than that, he says, I can send you with the good graces, and when you got the captain back, come see me, and, well, I can hook you up with some more people to sell weapons to. See, opportunity, make money. There's lots of people who like to shoot at each other. You guys sell weapons, I help you move them through markets, and everybody makes a lot of money that wants to make money, and everybody shoots a lot of people that wants to shoot a lot of people.
Before we leave, a quick reminder. Your third floor escape routes are very obvious.
He kind of chuckles and he goes, well, they haven't been obvious to that many people, so, I'm assuming if you know they're there, then you know why they're there.
I appreciate a paranoid man.
Well, thing about opportunity is it's all about change. And thing about change is it's dynamic. Sometimes you don't know what's coming. Preparation, man. Preparation. By the way, I know some of your people in the past have had, shall we say, extracurricular activities. I got a hold of a small shipment of blue fruit, a barrel. Anybody in the Shrike be interested in buying something like that these days?
Is that what Nurx uses to brew?
That's what the captain uses when he makes his blue.
For the last 6 months, it's been Nurx on it. So I'm assuming.
Yeah.
The
Nurx
answer is still
probably would
technically
have.
yes.
Nurx probably would.
The captain. In fact, we'll buy it off you. We'll consider it a welcome home gift for him.
200 credits and it's yours. I'll have somebody deliver it to your ship by the time you leave.
That's
Actually,
super
by
cheap.
tonight. By tonight. Yeah. Well, you guys have a good working relationship with ISIG.
200
at this
credits.
point.
We'll send it to
Yeah.
you out of the company coffers.
Click on who Isaac was. I forgot. Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, ISIG is the tiefling that is your
Yeah.
contact from way back when.
I have to keep in contact because I'm going to see Ice.
Yeah.
We won't be leaving the planet immediately. We still need time to resupply and refit the ships. So, we'll have the 200 credits to you before we leave.
Yeah, he's like, he nods. He says, "Usual transaction." He goes, he says,
Travis
"Usual."
already took care of it.
Yeah, he says, "Usual transaction." He says, "You are set." And he says, and he kind of looks around. And he's like, "I don't know if you got other business here, but you know, finish this this thing of Velen nectar with me. You're more than welcome to. I don't have business until tonight. We'll after we close the place, after we close the place, I got about an hour's window before I gotta actually physically be present for the fights."
I suppose we could. Just a reminder, though, my stomach is in need of replacement.
What?
What?
He's like,
Wait a minute.
okay. He kind of looks at you, and it's
So if I start
not
vomiting blood against all over your floor, that's why.
he's like,
Wow.
he kind of looks at you, and goes, "Wow."
I don't even
You
have a
go-
response for that.
He just kind of looks at you. He's like,
I just
"Wow."
motion to all of these obvious scars and this weird, janky machinery coming off of me. I'm like, did you think this was a fashion statement?
No, I just I don't have a lot of people who come in here with augmentations and tell me, "Hey, I need to have my stomach replaced. I might vomit on you."
By the way.
They
I
either
thought it was
usually,
fair warning.
yeah,
You should
well,
have seen you should have seen the place when my lungs started failing.
he's
By the way,
Yeah.
my stomach is a sewage tank.
he's like, he just kind of looks at you and goes, "Yeah, well, I got people for that. Try to make it to the bathroom downstairs, will you? I mean, not to be rude, but it's easier to get the people who are paid to clean up poop and vomit than the people who are paid to punch people to clean up poop and vomit.
Yeah, they
I
don't
mean,
like
they'll
to
do
that.
it. They'll do it. I just don't want to have to argue with them about it. I'd rather the people I pay to do that shit do it."
Understandable.
Besides, that server girl I just hired, lazy. I think I
Then
only keep
fire
her. The customers like her. I don't know why. She's always late getting their drinks. If she deals with them at all. I'd like to fire her. I might still fire her. But you know, he says, "But you know, there are side benefits of owning a business." And he says, "People like you, even when it's inappropriate." And he kind of look, and he kind of just. I mean, I don't like to take advantage of that kind of thing, but sometimes he shrugs his shoulders. Sometimes you can't stop them from taking advantage of it.
Don't worry. I know what the price of fame is.
He kind of laughs. He kind of chuckles at that. He goes, "Yeah," he says, "that reminds me. You're going to put out a new album anytime soon? I'm pretty sure if you're doing that, I'm pretty sure if I had a advanced cut of a new single, perhaps, and drum business up quite a bit."
We'll
I'd-
see. My
I'd
vocal
cut you.
cord, my singing days are long behind me, along with most of my throat.
We could do it like
He goes-
techno.
Then he kind of looks at you and goes, "Okay, well, I guess that's a fair point, man. I didn't think of it." And he sits back and he kind of rolls himself like a hyperleaf funny cigarette to smoke.
He's doing the wacky tobacco.
He does
He
not.
has a party accessory available and uses it.
Yeah,
A
He
whole
clearly-
backpack of party.
yeah, he is
backpack.
clearly very comfortable in his element here because he just does not give a shit. You get the impression he would probably do drugs right in front of you or right in front of Hell Knights, or right in front of the local law enforcement, or anybody. He doesn't care. This is his business, his establishment, and he's clearly comfortable here. Oh, and he's got a new couch that you wasn't here the last time you saw it. You were here, Tavis.
Is it a nice couch?
It's well made, but it's kind of tacky. It's
Yeah,
kind of colorful.
I just look at it with that look that you do whenever you see like your grandma bought another gaudy piece of furniture.
Yeah.
And covered it in plastic.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, ew.
It's got like multicolored stripes. You know?
It looks like something a tiefling would like.
Yeah, it's just you don't know what the story behind it is. It's just a weird looking fucking couch that's just kind of tacky, well made. But
It's a well-trained mimic. It's just there in case it needs it.
Oh,
I
God.
laughed, the bartender
It's-
laughed, the table laughed, we killed the table.
Right.
Table.
I like the idea that maybe he got that couch from extorting somebody, and it's very like Russian mobster style of like, why let it go to waste? Guy can only pay us in couch. We take couch.
Right.
That's how Prozov got everything he owns.
I mean, maybe, yeah.
His wallet.
So I want to cut back here. Actually, first I want to know what you guys are doing. Like, are you going to sit around and drink some more Valen nectar with this guy and do drugs with him, or are you going to go out and take care of other business, or you sit and drink with him?
I sit
Okay.
on that fancy couch.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is a nice couch.
If you don't stop him, Rogo will drink with you. Qualu, however, will only drink if you specifically offer it to him, and then he won't drink much. Because one thing about Qualu is, ever since the destruction of the Shadow of Ever and his face-off with Shaba, he seems to be... There's a certain amount of backbone, like that you can tell the Nahir influence on him, because he's very professional about the way he goes about his job. He's not Nahir in personality, but he is professional about how he does shit. So, like,
I'm going to be nursing the same glass the entire rest of the night, and I'm going to offer him like a half glass, not enough to really do much.
right.
Just
I wait
straight to-
until everybody else has drinking something, and I give them like 10, 15 minutes before I even take a sip.
Right. You're like, you don't want what I've got.
Well, more,
Is it
I want to
poison?
make sure that no one's poisoned this.
Or, oh, right. There you go. Sure. Yeah, all right. So let's do a smash. Let's do like a smash cut here. And I want to go
Starwipe.
back to yeah, maybe we could do a wipe. Just wipe. Yeah. And
Whoa!
we go back to Lysin. You are what are you doing now that you have left the Bort's booze and bitches and this captain behind? You're looking for the captain, or
Yeah,
have you
go
found?
look for
Have
the
you?
captain.
All right, we can just cut to where you have found the captain and Drea and company. Yeah, you walk back up, or you wander back up, and he goes. He looks at you as you come back up. Like, of course, Savase, sees you, and like you hear them communicating and whatnot. But you come back, and Captain Marcel is, like, listen, what did you find? Anything solid here? Anything?
It was slim pickings, but I found us a ship off planet.
Great. Almost
It's
hate
gonna cost
to
2,000 credits.
2,000.
Spits out water.
I don't-
Between us, we should be able to do it.
He's like,
I have
he-
a gambling problem. I've already blown all my money.
he's like, I don't
I
exactly.
spent all my money on hookers and blow.
Oh my god.
I don't exactly have a lot of credits. Savase, you got credits? Savase is like, no, man, no, sir. I spent it. I spent it the last time we we're in a
go
civilized
to it.
port. He's like, and he gets that almost ashamed look that people
He
get.
did spend it on hookers and blow.
Yeah,
He did. I shoot him a look. It's like
Yeah,
you didn't.
He went to naughty unit.
he's like, well, he goes, anyway, I don't have a lot of credits, and I think Marcel just shakes his head and he's like, he's like, yeah, it's all right. I don't think any of us expected to be in this kind of a situation. Eh,
Then I guess we sell salvage from the ship.
I think we can get. Tell you what, would they take salvage? Would they take the UPBs they could get out of the salvage of the ship? Because if they could, if they do, if they would, if they're willing to do so, then that's our payment. What do you think?
Well, their captain is a Vesk. Probably not the brightest thing on the planet.
Yeah, well,
It might work.
this
might work.
see if you can see if they'll agree to that. If they'll agree to that, then try to set up a run. And we found out that in our surveillance, we saw that Sub Commander Dawson is here. He's got a small contingent of Hell Knights, and Lyson, I think maybe you were there to see when like the former captain got killed by Dawson. Like you witnessed that Dawson was a pretty significant opponent that he killed, like your former captain, with kind of easily. That's when Captain Masal got a instant field promotion.
Mm-hmm. Went from lieutenant to captain, like.
You know. Yep.
The captain is dead. Long live the captain.
Yep.
Basically.
He's the one who was he was the one that Captain Masal was probably the one that was like, look, we can't win this. We can't win in this. Let's hope we've bought them enough time to get out of here, and let's fucking book. You know.
As we watched the last two civilian transports go poof.
Oh
in the
yeah.
sky.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I look forward to doing a full-on flashback to that because that'll be fun.
It will be.
But as we go forward, like so yeah, he
It's a good present day.
yeah he kind of does that thing where he's like, he says before you go back in, you might as well sit and eat with us for a bit.
Yeah, getting a little hungry.
Says it appears our friend Drea here, and maybe he's kind of having this conversation. I don't know, Drea, are you sitting with them while they're eating? Okay, he says appears our friend Drea here. That's her name if you didn't catch it. Appears our friend Drea here. Doesn't know how she got there. This is Site 87. We thought it was abandoned, and she doesn't know how she got there. But it's maybe we can help her find some answers.
Form of amnesia.
Yeah. Either that, or it could be a curse, or
Magic, please.
It's like
Magic doesn't exist.
he just kind of
Those tricks are very, very technologically enhanced. Yeah.
yeah. He's like, you're well, it's not like there are no Strix technomancers. It's that because it even says they make good technomancers, but it's
They
more
don't
that
mingle with mystics.
yeah, they don't really particularly like the technomancer Strix are maybe outliers to the mechanic and operative Strix.
Magic
To a
doesn't
certain
exist.
extent.
Fairies are just a myth.
Birds aren't real.
But you,
Don't
uh,
hate
Get me
them all.
started.
yeah. But you go. He kind of. He looks over you and says, I don't know. Whatever happened, I'll help you find answers. But I gotta ask a favor. Seeing says how you don't have much to go on, Drea. Mind lending us a hand in the interim? We help you, you help us.
I don't mind.
I don't mind.
Great.
Forgot to sigh.
Oh,
he says, he says, yeah. He says, he kind of goes, good. He goes, good. We're a little short-handed, obviously, and we could use the extra hand. So, and he reaches his hand out. He says, good to have you on board. And you shake his hand. Or do you just stare at it like, fuck
Well,
you?
I don't know.
Bye.
Pause,
Maybe I do
Patrick.
both. Maybe it's
Me.
an awkward staring handshake.
yeah, okay. Sure, you have this awkward handshake. You kind of stare at his hand for a minute, shake his hand, and stare at him awkwardly.
He's
Wait,
very
what species
obviously
are you?
uncomfortable.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he doesn't quite know what to make of you. He's
Yeah.
friendly. Like so far he's been friendly and open,
yeah.
but he doesn't know what to make of you. So
I'd
Still an elf, are you? What are you?
rather not say.
It's an elf.
Are the
Yeah.
ears pointy?
it's a mystery. Can't even see the ears.
Nope.
It's that hood and half mask combo.
Maybe she's the
Oh,
crystal.
so she's a drow. Okay.
So
Maybe she's a
you're-
crystal stranger too.
Stop
you're
it.
but the
Oh, Lord.
yeah, I think maybe we can kind of montage the rest of the scene unless you guys
Yeah.
have other things you want to talk about or want to do with the scene.
It's just
Not really.
Not really. All right.
I want to meet with the guy before the end of tonight.
Unless the share wants to do something.
You're. I'm sure Ashura just wants to live, but that's not happening.
Sure
Well,
does.
guess what didn't happen?
You're still frozen in carbonite. Shut up.
No, wait, that's not a thing. Wrong show.
But
Still
you're
frozen.
Oh god.
the yeah, and I think maybe we can cut to the scene where Lysin goes back to talk to this captain. So we cut back to the inside of the Bort's Booze and Bitches, and what does this look like? You know, you walk back up, and they're clearly most of his crew are a lot drunker at this point.
Undisciplined oafs.
He's not. Whether that's because he's just really big and has a lot of body weight and can absorb a lot of booze, or whether that's because he's pacing himself, who knows?
It's
Maybe-
something.
Or it could be he's just an experienced drinker and he can hold his fucking liquor better. Who knows? But he sees you approaching, and maybe he's kicking one of his guys that's fallen down on the floor, that's half passed out on the floor. Like, get up, back to the you get him back to the ship. He's a disgrace. I'm telling you.
I just have that look. It's like, oh God, really?
If he doesn't,
Course.
Really?
yeah, he's like, if he doesn't shoot at least 2 people on our next mission, I'm docking his pay. Like, and he sees you come back. He goes, you were serious about making a deal. Mm.
Yeah.
So you got some credits for me?
Let's bet.
Yeah, well, he says, he points to a table with only 2 chairs. It's like, And these fools are only going to be a distraction right now.
You're a lot smarter than your race. Out to be.
Woo!
He looks at you.
We used
He
to
looks
keep
at
you as pets.
He looks at you and he looks at you and he smiles. He says, "Just so long as you remember that this dumb race took over an entire system the size of, well, the Pact Worlds." And he kind of
I know what your race did.
he
Trust
says,
me, that's academy training.
he says, and I don't think and let's not forget the Pact Worlds wouldn't have survived with the swarm without the Vescarium. And since we've gotten that out of the way, so what is there to talk about with this payment?
The rest of my crew's a little short on cash, but we do have salvage and UPVs if you're interested. You could take all you want.
Salvage. How many UPBs worth are we talking about?
Would we figure on the ship?
Yeah, I like, if this could probably be established by either saying, "Oh, it's a crash shuttle," or showing him a picture or something.
We'll do both.
He goes,
The shuttle we crashed in, and I show him the picture of this is basically what's left. Minus the dead bodies.
I don't know what you heard, but I don't want the dead bodies.
That's a good thing. Then
Any
those
kind
are
of-
lies.
And he says, well, dead bodies are notoriously unuseful in my line of work, unless they're the ones I create on the other side of a gun, right? And he kind of does that thing where he does the shoulder thing, or the elbow thing, kind of elbows you like, right? And
Yeah, I take the shot and just like, yeah, you're.
he kind of he takes a minute and he kind of looks at it and he goes, "Yeah, that'll work. As soon as my guys collected the salvage we can out of that, we can go." He says, "Where do you?" He says, "My ship, the Death Hammer, is on landing pad CC3A. I don't know why they need 3 C's and an A. There's only a few landing pads around here. You'd think they could just be like 1, 2, 3, or 4, or A, B, C, or D." It says,
Who knows with these corporates?
and he kind of looks at you and he says, "So answer me a question. Since we're gonna be giving you a ride, couple of things I need to know. One, proper introductions. I'm Captain Jacares. Maybe you heard of me. I'm a member, card-carrying member of the Free Captains, and, well, my body of work speaks for itself."
You want me to do a culture check, see if I know?
Yeah, you can do that.
Never heard of you.
You've heard rumors about this guy.
Okay.
There are a lot of outlaws around here, and you've heard bandied about. Not in connection with anybody in particular, but you've heard his name. And he says, and he goes, "What's your name?"
Corporal Lassine.
"Corporal Lassine. I knew it. I knew you were military. I could tell by your stance." He says, "I'm gonna guess that you're here, and that crash shuttle answers at least a couple of questions about I had for you. So, yeah." He goes, meet us there tomorrow night, and we'll get off planet."
I give him coordinates to the shuttle.
Yeah, he's like, If you don't mind, I've got some jackasses to corral. And he won't.
By all means.
And
If
he's
you need some help, I can give you a hand.
and he goes, "Yeah, it's more fun when I do it myself." And he goes, "But you're welcome to kick the guy that's being dragged out on his way out. He deserves an extra kick." He
Just roll damage.
yeah, as he walks over, as he walks back over to his table, with his people, he kind of roars out. He's like, "I swear, he says, I swear, sometimes I wonder if my job is to be captain of a notorious crew or a wrangler of jabronis.
Yeah.
None of you can hold your
Jabronis.
liquor." And he, and
You give that guy a swift kick as I go up.
oh yeah, cool. He's being dragged out. He's dragged by you. You just like boot him in the ass.
Do you actually want me to roll it because this is going to be fun?
No, you don't have to roll it. He's drunk and his friends are carrying him, and they really don't care if you kick him in the ass, especially if the captain gave him permission.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Yeah, they don't. He's like, oh,
Yeah, so I
sorry."
guess I'm pulling my punch.
He's but yeah, he's they drag him out, and I want to do a cut over to Captain Zai. Captain Zai, you are in the process of walking with Chunderbucket Charlie, and with you're in the process of walking with Chunderbucket Charlie and Neverwhere, and Neverwhere has taken on the male form again, with the human male with spiky hair form, black hair form, and and you've noticed that when Neverwhere changes forms, even like his pattern of speaking, his, her, whatever pattern of speaking changes too.
Of course.
And it's like, so, it's going to be, it's a bit of a drag that you have to. Figured we'd have a little bit more time to drink, maybe get some of that famous blue grog of yours. But this is your ship. You can rename it whatever the hell you.
Firebird.
He says you're He says Captain Zaraht and Captain Kilm send their best. They want you to know they're thinking about you. Blah 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 blah. It's all, the sentimental crap. But anyway, and he taps something on his comms, and the cargo bay door opens, and he's like, he's like, I'll give you the quick tour here. He goes, your crew. He says, and as you walk in, like, you see that there are a group of crazy looking individuals there, various races, and he points them out, and he says, there is first he points to a halfling, and he says, Scramjet. Don't ask me. He's never told me his real name. He's a pilot. Maybe not. He's pretty good. He's fine. Scramjet's a pilot there. Figured you'd probably need a bit of muscle, so. And he waves over, and the next one over is a Bolida. And he says, Tickspit here. Pretty good fighter. Fighting. Trained as a soldier, and the Bolida kind of looks at you and moves in that weird insectoid way.
What was his name again?
Tickspit. And he goes, you might like this one. Neckivo calls upon the powers of stars and black holes, same as you. Neckivo, and he points to a Sheeran. And he says, oh, and this one's a bit of a late addiction. Funny story. And and certainly your Osharu friend perks up when he sees this one. He goes, Vector 113, and it's an SRO. And it says, Vector 113, he's a bit of an existential head trip. He's essentially a robot that wants to make other robots. Ooh. And you see that he does have a drone. And he's like, crew found him on one of them escape pods that came from the shadow of Ever. Says he used to work there. Got lost, separated, whatever. Now he just kind of doesn't have anything to do with his time. Or her, I can never tell with these robots. Are you a him or are you a her? And Vector just kind of looks at you and says, question does not make any sense. Please restate. And there's almost a hint of sarcasm to it, but it's mostly contextual in the sarcasm. It's like you figure it out. Anyway, they're all pretty good at what they do, or at least their reputations say they are. Scramjet's flown for me before. I've seen Nick Kivo in a fight once. I don't know Vector 113 so well. And they tell me Tix Pit, let me tell him he's a room clearer when he wants. He or it is a room clearer. So I'll leave you to your devices. And he says, oh yeah. If you ever catch up with that Ezele, I'll bring him here. I'd love to meet him.
All right, Nev.
Inspiration to us all.
That sounded suspicious.
No, she's your fan. Or he.
Not really. All right. So you know that fan that makes you scared to be a celebrity? You found another one. Anyway.
Yeah, and Neverwhere kind of looks at you and says, well, I've got things to do, crimes to commit, people to get,
Wait.
you know.
I have one thing that I would like for your people to help me with before I leave.
Your list of favors goes kind of long here, but what are you looking for?
I need an I'm back video.
An I'm back video.
Yes. I want Sarah Vol to know that he didn't get rid of me and that I'm coming.
You know what?
Dun, 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 dun.
Sounds fun, doesn't it? You want to be a part of this, don't you?
You know what? Pirates, we share one thing in common. Love a good story. Love a good story. We're going to embellish the shit out of it, but we'll put word out.
All right, sing songs if you do that sort of thing. You know, all that good stuff.
Oh, we'll put word out. We'll make it. We'll make an even bigger legend out of it. Cordrum won't know what to think.
Ooh, and if we can somehow make it seem like it came out of, I don't know, somewhere near Absalon, that would be even better. Because then they'll start looking for me in the Pact world. It'll thin out their numbers a bit.
He kind of shrugs and says, One more thing.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm a needy guy.
Say hi to Bettina for me. I understand you've met her.
Wink, wink.
And tell her I'm not giving her that black t-shirt back. It's mine.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
No t-shirt. All right, I can do that. I have to find the ship again.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So that is all. Scramjet, get out of here.
Hey, you're the boss, man. We'll get on. I'll start getting the pre-flight ready. Hey,
Where are we headed?
113. You haven't told me a destination yet, but I think Chunderbucket Charlie still has some stuff to
Oh,
say
good,
to you
good.
too. So
Chunderbucket.
yeah,
I
he
forgot.
hasn't left, but yeah,
I
Scramjet's
thought he
like,
might be coming.
no, but he hasn't left yet.
Okay.
He's like, Scramjet's like, I'll get the pre-flight ready. Hey, 113, you want to get the engines going? You want to get that stuff rolling?
Ooh, 113. This is my friend Elgas. I'm not taking it away from you, but you guys should work together.
Oh, well, hey, understood. Command accepted. And looks over at Elgas, and who looks at him and is like,
I remember.
show me. And and 113 kind of says affirmative, and takes them Elgas wandering off to the mechanical, to the engine room. And I think the Chunderbucket Charlie says, well, I know you've got your ship, you've got a crew, you've got a ship and a crew. Last couple pieces I've got for you.
Okay.
Careful with Neverwhere. Not quite sure if it's multiple personalities that have learned to work together, or if just some sort of act, or how crazy Neverwhere is. But you might treat every meeting like it's your first. And in terms of feeling it out to make sure that where you stand. I've known people that dealt with her for the second, him, her, whatever, for the second time, and that it was as if they didn't have a pre-existing relationship. Stepped a little bit over the line one too many times and was treated as such.
Mm.
And this is Captain Jakaras is not your friend. He'll hold to the code. He'll hold to the code as much as it's convenient for him. But I wouldn't necessarily plan on him not being aggressive if he's pushed. He's still a Vesk, and he's a far sight away from Broken Rod. So he may or may not hold to the no duel, no confrontation rules.
Interesting.
He's not exactly your enemy, but he's not exactly your friend either. So be careful dealing with him. And along the lines of things, I can't tell you where your friends are. I don't know. But I can tell you where to start on at least one bit of business that you had in your pocket.
Okay.
Site 87. You've been there.
I
It's
have.
well, that's where the Rex Tolak has been seen mostly out of. If I were looking for your friends, I'd go searching for things that you were looking for before. They may or may not be they may or may not be on the same path they were before, but at the very least, maybe once they hear you're alive, they'll figure that you might be on the same trip. and go looking. In any case, it's a bigger chance that you'll find him by pursuing a goal that you're familiar with and they're familiar. I'd head there first if I were you. Might be you can find out more information there than you think. If you'll excuse, the Dark Chunder and I, we've got ourselves a bit of a... We've got some business for. Been a few months I've been out of commission. Didn't like spending time in that colony. Penal colonies always make me angry, make me hungry. I lose about 10 pounds every time. The food here was worse than it was here, worse than it was in the last place I was in. Good luck to you, Captain Volvetto. I hope to see you around.
You will. I plan on retiring one of these days.
He kind of chuckles at that. We all plan on retiring someday. Question is, do we manage to get to retire before we get retired? I hope you find your retirement before it finds you.
Bonus of
Besmeris,
being a Kasathan is that I know where I'm going to end up when I retire in that way.
well, Besmeris smile upon you and your adventures. Some of that famous blue grog of yours.
I'm sure that even in my absence, it's continuing to be stored and grown at the same time.
All right. He takes his
Just
leave.
leave.
Yeah, he gives you a polite salute back and
Flips me off.
leaves. Well, he didn't flip you off. He's not Nerks.
Oh, no, salute, then the flip off. Like,
Yeah, he
why are you
just
making me do that?
yeah.
Anyway,
And for our final scene, because I know it's kind of long, Slef, you find your way to the burned bastard.
All right. Right on. I already kind of know how I want to handle the situation. Because it centers around how I built my power armor. Now, there's a thing in your power armor called an explosive defense unit that you can buy as an augment. Slef's gonna go in, full power armor, not really caring if he's attracting attention in this civilian location, right?
Never care.
He's going to casually walk in and walk up to the nearest guy. No, actually he's not. He's going to walk up to the nearest table he can find full of people. And he's going to just sit there for a second. Be like, hey, how are you guys doing?
They look at you for a second. Like at first they look at you like, the fuck are you doing at my table? And they go back to their and look at each other, and then they look back at you.
Yeah.
When they all three get up and leave. They're like,
excuse me. Nope. How incredibly fucking rude. If I could have you sit back down, and I press a button that reveals a grenade that just pops out of my chest. If you would mind sitting back down here for a second.
Jesus.
This is about the time that
Lord.
you see like several people who are obviously security like start making preparations.
I turn around and I'm like, hold the fuck up! Excuse me, everyone within this fine establishment. I am an insane man armed with a grenade, and I would like to speak to the owner of this establishment.
At least he's honest.
Please.
Yeah, and this is about the time you hear somebody. You hear somebody from the top of the stairs, and you look up and you see a tiefling. He's got long hair, and he's got it pulled back into a ponytail. He's dressed in a somewhat eclectic manner. He's like, whoa. Look, all you had to do was make an appointment with the right people.
I don't have time for appointments, man.
Look,
Just letting you know.
Mr. Sleff, I assure you I know who you are.
Good! Fucking glad! Then you know what I'm looking for. I heard from a little birdie that you might know.
Well, yeah. What are you looking for? He says, why don't you put the grenade away and come upstairs and talk business like a normal person?
Now that's all I wanted to hear. I'm a reasonable guy when you speak my language. And I press the button and like the grenade goes in and he's like, don't worry though, I can still set this off. That was just for show. Don't try any fucking stupid shit. And like he just starts walking forward, blissfully ignorant of the fucking irony he just said.
He just kind of, he managed to make it up to the stairs, and he walked you back to his office, which is, as I described, eclectically decorated, and he sits down. There is no one else in there, except for him, and he sits down behind the table and he says, "Now I understand you're a man of particular tastes." He says, and he said, he hands you a bowl full of hyperlife. He says, "You might want to, I think I'd like you a little calmer, and I think you'd like to be a little."
As it's stiff, told me that you knew some information I wanted, and he also happens to be dead. Just giving you a heads up. I'm not gonna balk at anything. And he takes the pipe and casually lights it.
How's it stiff?
Yeah, he's talking about it like he's talking about like walking out and getting the groceries or some shit.
Yeah, he's like, "How's it stiff? How's it stiff?" And he looks over to the doorway. He looks over maybe Arthur, the big bear, fucking followed in. He's concerned. He looks over at Arthur. He's like, "Hey, do I know a hazard stiff?" And you hear in your mind, "Well, boss, I believe he did a few jobs with one of our guys a while back. And he was in the bastard I'd say about a month ago, maybe. I don't know. He runs with some of our crew. I don't think you've ever hired him." And he goes, "Oh yeah, right.
Fucking
I remember
frustrating
him."
fucking frustrating when your name's in other people's mouths, eh?
He goes, yeah, I remember that guy. So he told you I had information you needed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least he knows. At least my men impress upon their friends the importance that I hold around here. What do you need to know, and what are you willing to pay for it?
Goes, I need contact with either the Fire Shrike or its captain.
He kind of chuckles at that for a minute.
He's like, or any other whereabouts you know. As for cash, I can lay down 6,000 credits right the fuck now.
And he gets a gleam in his eyes, and he goes, 6,000 credits.
Yep, it's what I got for stiff and stiff.
Okay. He goes, I think we can do business. He says, he says, and it's ironic you came to see me, because I happen to have some of that information. I'll tell you as soon as the money hits my account.
Slef's gonna fucking transfer it post-haste from his account.